Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hammer Podcast. Today is November 21st, 2020, and I'm speaking with Naman. Naman went to the Agape Boys Ranch, or boarding school, same thing, in Stockton, Missouri from 2018 to 2019. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Naman. Go ahead and start, my friend. It's all yours.
Okay, so you guys know me. They all used to call me Sony. That used to be my last name, so they'll all remember it. Most of them might not remember my first name because they all always everyone called me Sony there. That was my last name back then.
Oh, Sony?
And
Okay.
yeah, that I've changed my last name now because I have a stepdad now, and my real dad has passed away. So I don't want to keep any memories. So I kind of changed my last name, kind of got it fixed and everything.
All right.
But if you guys are watching this out there,
before we go on, when you talk names, make sure it's just the first names only, okay, for legal purposes. All right?
okay,
All right.
all right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say, if any of you guys are watching this out there, please don't send your kid there. It's so much stress and trauma. I'm gonna be honest. About not even 2 days ago, I had a nightmare of Agape, and I don't usually lie about stuff like this. This is very messed up stuff. If what I'm basically saying is, if you go there for only a year, and after a year, it's been a year since I've been out of there, and even after that, I'm getting nightmares to this day. I sleep like I feel like I have PTSD or some shit. I go to sleep, and my dreams are very vivid. It's very bright. Everything's very realistic, and it's torture. And 2 days ago, I had this nightmare, and I went back to Agape for some stupid reason, and it was just really torture, and it was really messed up. So I mean, if you guys are hearing me and understanding how bad that is, then you would not send your kid there. Imagine your kid having nightmares after a year being out of there, and
Yeah.
it just leaves you it can turn you either into a very strong person or a very weak person. For me, it's turned me into a strong person and also a weak. It has taught me something about being strong, but in a very, very wrong way, very abusing way. I don't know where I'm supposed to start on this. If I'm supposed to start my first day, like, where do you want me to start? Of Agape.
Why were you sent there?
What happened? I mean, why I got sent there? I was doing drugs. What was going on back then? Just listening to other people doing drugs, drinking alcohol, sneaking out, doing all this. And my parents got tired of me and me getting expelled over and over again, getting in a lot of trouble, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, expelled all 3 years. And I felt like I deserved to get sent away somewhere. But Agape seemed far from what I deserved. That no one deserves that, man. No matter what you've done, you don't deserve to be abused like that. No matter what you've done,
Right.
that's just
right.
inhumane. That's breaking human rights, man. That's just really messed up. But that's the reason I got sent there. My first day there, I remember I walked in, and I had so many clothes on me, so many clothes. My jeans, my parents had just bought me new clothes. They took everything away, and they put it somewhere. They called this place the attic, and it was giant. It was giant. They took everything. They gave me these nasty old clothes that were years and 20, 30 years old. These nasty jeans, these
Yeah.
stained shirts, smelling clothes. I don't think they ever used like actual soap in there, washing their dishes. And they gave me that, and then they were like, okay, well, sit down. And they had this really messed up razor, and they like shaved my head, and it hurt so bad because it was like the blade was all wrong, and I had like blood scars all over my head. It was all
Wow.
like bloodied up, and then they were like, take all your clothes off, and then they made me stand in my underwear in front of like 15, 20 people. There was a bunch of people. They were just hanging out there. I don't know why they were hanging out. Totally, really messed up. And then they were like, okay, we'll bend over, cough 3 times, then maybe do like 30 or 40 times. They made me do it over and over just for the fun of it. And back then I was a very small kid. I was maybe 5'2", and it was really chunky. And so I couldn't stand up for myself. Those dudes were giant. They were all really messed up people, and even the staff members didn't care. Even the staff members thought it was funny. I'm not going to specify the names. I don't want them to be
Right.
looked down upon. God will take care of it. What he has to do. I'm not going to do anything because it's not my place to do it. So that was my first day. Right after that, I was really sad. My parents were right there in front of me. There was a door right here, and they were on the other side of the door looking at me while there left patches of hair all over my head, behind my ears, behind my, all over the front. It was just really, humiliating. Like, look, imagine being in a room full of 150 guys and your hair's all disgusting and these old, smelly clothes.
Yeah.
And they gave me these prison slides. They're like Bob Baker or something, orange prison slides,
Okay.
and they were so uncomfortable and they were so out of my size. It was just a really horrible first day, and I got so mad. And there was this guy there named Julio, and he was like the dean of students there, and he was a previous some kind of gang member or something. So he was a very messed up guy. I mean, he's changed a lot now, but I've heard many violent stories about him, and a couple of them happened to me. So my first day, I was really sad. I was mad at my parents. I didn't want to be there. So I was like, I'm gonna beat this dude up. And someone heard it. I don't want to say his name. I don't know if he's watching this.
Right.
I'm still kind of scared of this dude because he's some kind of gangster or something. So I don't want to say his name.
Right.
But he got mad about that because he really respected this guy Julio, and he was like, "Well, you're gonna come in acting all big." I said, "I never acted big. What I'm feeling right now is not very good. I'm not feeling good. Maybe you should help me instead of trying to act all big." And he was like, "Well, come meet me in the bathroom, and we'll sort it out." And no one knows this. You're the first person that I've ever told. No one, not a soul knows this. I went into the bathroom, and I used the restroom. I turned around, and first thing there's 3 or 4 guys. I don't remember all their names. I just remember one dude, Anthony, and they just straight up went off. I couldn't eat for like 3 or 4 months. It was cool. And then, I mean, they had those giant freaking boots on. They stomped my face out and did all this crazy stuff, and then left me there to pretty much, rot and die. And then this one staff member, he's a very sweet man. To this day, I remember him for all the kind things he's done for all of us. His name was Arturo. He was, I think he was Hispanic. He was a former Army guy, and he picked me up, and he was like, "You were running your mouth, weren't you?" I was like, "Well, I kind of was, And he was like, "Well, this is what happens down here when you run your mouth." And I was like, "Well, I didn't even know. This is like literally my second day." And he was like, "Well, go on." Like, he wasn't a medical guy, so he just told me to just tough it out and go on. I couldn't even talk. Like, my jaw was broken, the whole thing, so I couldn't even talk. I was barely talking.
Wow.
And I'm walking down the hallway in agony. It's so much pain in my jaw. It feels like it was literally broken. And right on my jaw, this Anthony's best friend, he got ticked off at me too. And in the hallway, I'm walking down. He walks up to me and right in the mouth, hits me right in the jaw where it was broken. Makes it even worse. And for 4 months, I kept eating and not telling anyone about my pain because I was so scared that he would do it again. Because then they would ask me who did it.
Right.
And being the sensitive little guy, I stand up for myself. I don't let anyone talk down to me.
Right. Naman,
I always keep my guard up. I never let anyone.
You're breaking up. I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi or if it's connection.
Is it better now?
Are you on your phone?
Yeah, I'm on my phone. My iPad's dead.
Your iPad's dead? Okay. All right. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay. But that's what happened, in the hallway. He just hit me right in the mouth. His name was Andreas. I can't say his full name, but his name was Andreas. My Agape folks will know who he is. And all that happened. And, my first 3 or 4 months there, the main incidents right after that first week, second week there, I was there. And this guy, he was a bully to everyone. So one day I got really ticked off because I was in a shower bay and he took my soap. And so I pushed him. He's a real skinny dude and he fell on his head. And then he got up and tried to fight me and stuff. And they told me, and they gave self-restraint because he was stepping up to me, acting all hard. I'm defending myself. What am I supposed to do,
Right.
And they told me to get self-restraint. My first self-restraint was very, humane and normal. and no one like pulled my hand back. Second time, this is maybe my second month there. I was in the dorm room where we all sleep. All the racks and stuff are there, and Julio was there. And this one red shirt, he gave me like 3 or 4 thousand push-ups,
Oh,
and I was just like, man, I can't do this before sleeping. I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I was like, I know I can do push-ups, but I can't do that many, man. And he was like, well, do your push-ups. So I refused, and I couldn't do them anymore. My arms gave out, like how much can I do at a
right.
time? And Julio walked up. He's like, "Do your push-ups," and I was like, "I can't. My arms are literally giving out. Like, I don't think I can do this anymore." And he slams me so hard on the ground. He broke my face. Like it was all bloodied up and everything. It was a
Mm.
bloodbath right there on the ground. And and then he picked me up by my shirt. He probably tore in my entire shirt. And there was this gate on the side. He took me out of the gate and made me work out for an hour or two. And then he was like, wrestle me. And I was like, how am I supposed to wrestle you? And then he slammed me again multiple times while wrestling. And he brought me back and made me finish the rest of my push-ups. And
Oh,
it was so painful. I can't even tell you. It was so painful with a broken jaw. And oh, I forgot to tell you before that, this dude broke my wrist too. So I had a broken wrist. We were playing basketball and this dude pushed me and my arm went like this. And he did it on purpose. And my arm went on the ground and my
right.
wrist had a fracture. And it was just so much pain. It was so much depression, pain, me missing my parents because I knew I had another at least a year left. But those are some of the main incidents that were done to me the first 3 months. Restraints, I remember restraints restrain you of nothing. I mean, they would restrain kids over saying one word. Like if you weren't doing your push-ups or getting self-restrained, if you take too long, they'll slam you on the ground. That's just how it worked. I mean, and I had accepted it. I couldn't just not accept it. If I try to step up, they would put me in a brown shirt. They had these things called brown shirt. I know you know what
Right.
that means.
Yes.
And I was a brown shirt for about maybe 4 months, my entire time there. So a very long time,
That's a lot of peanut butter and jelly
about
sandwiches right there.
130 days. I don't know if they told you, but there was no gel. There was no jelly in the sandwiches. There
Oh,
was
no
only
jelly?
peanut butter.
Just peanut butter, huh? Oh, that
No.
sucks.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Lucas told you, but there was no jelly. It was just 2 inches thick peanut butter with one
Oh,
glass of water, and maybe sometimes.
wow. That's a lot of peanut butter.
And it was horrible. Like I couldn't even swallow that much peanut butter. It wouldn't go down my throat. It was so thick.
Right.
And the workouts there were horrible. I don't know if Lucas told you all of them, but the workouts there, it just depended on who was there. I know he told you about Duncan, the staff member there. He was
Yeah.
horrible to everyone. He was a horrible guy, very horrible man. And one time he made us run this. There's this giant hill, and he made us like bear crawl like over and over. And there was about 15 of us, and he was like, "Okay, you guys get 8 minutes, and all you have to go down that hill." It was maybe about 0.5 miles down that hill, going up and coming back down and going back up. And it was chilly. It was like 20 degrees outside, and we didn't even have jackets on. We just had our shirts on. Some of us had those light long sleeves and jeans, and it was so cold. And it was raining, so the ground was wet. And people kept messing up, so we did it over and over for 8 hours, 8 9 hours, the entire day, running hills in the cold. And my lungs were hurting so bad. My lungs hurted at least for a few weeks after that. I think that damaged my lungs, all that cold air.
It can. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, and sometimes I still feel like if I go out even for like 20 minutes, I can feel that same pain. I think it's like done some kind of like damage that's permanent now. I don't know what it is,
Have you seen it?
but
Have you seen a
the,
doctor or anything to get
oh,
yourself?
I have. They said it's nothing. I went there one time. They said it was nothing like major. They didn't think it was nothing, but I know that it's something. It just needs. If it's just because like right now it's maybe 40 50 degrees. I'll go out there for 20 minutes and it'll start hurting.
Hmm.
But it's not that bad. It's only if I'm doing like boxing or something. If I'm running, it's not that bad.
Okay.
But that was just many of the workouts that we had to do. So my guide, I don't think I told you about my guide. My first guide there. The guy that you have to stay 3 feet when you're an orange shirt.
Oh, buddy.
My buddy.
Yeah.
Well, he was my guide. I was his buddy. Yeah.
Okay.
First time this guy named John. He was very chill. He was real cool, and he had this kid named Brosnan. I almost said his I almost said his full name. He had this friend named Brosnan, and he used to really scare me back then. Like he was a very tall dude. He had a very weird, scary looking face. He had a very weird looking face. You can ask all my friends. He was a very weird looking guy, and I used to get scared of him for a couple of months until, he would like he would take my food and he would take my face and shove it into the wall and all this. And I I just got really mad and I picked my friend's Blake. Did it stop working?
No, I can hear you. You're cutting in and out again. Your video right now
Okay,
is
glitched out, I
frozen.
think.
There you go. You're back on. Go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we took care of that guy Brosnan. Me and my friend Blake. We jumped him together. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but it had to be done. I mean, this guy tortured me for like 6, 7 months. It had to be done, as in my viewpoint. How much more can a man take?
Yeah.
And but my first 6 months, went through so much. Being an orange shirt, I was an orange shirt for a month, and the only reason is because I was so rebellious, and they didn't try to. They took away my ADHD medicine. I had ADHD. Like it's gone now. I have it, but I've learned how to tame it. I had my ADHD medicine. They took all my medicines away, my ADD, and so I couldn't control myself. So every time they put me on the wall, I couldn't just stand still for over 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
I had to move a little bit. And every time I did, my second, his name, Brandon, he's the guy that Lucas told you about that he got restrained really bad.
Yeah.
In the gym and he was throwing up on himself.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And
yes.
he was really mistreated. He was very mistreated. Like he had some kind of, I think, autism or something, but he was very mistreated. It was so messed up. But this guy he could be an asshole sometimes when he wanted to. So every time I'd look off the wall, it'd be like push-ups. And I was like, I have ADHD, dude. Give me a break. No, 20, 50, 100, 200,
Right.
just kept going. And I've honestly probably done 50, 60,000 push-ups in my time there. A lot, more than that actually. And my first 6 months, 1 month orange shirt and about 4 or 5 months brown shirt, it was so much pain. There was so much bullying there. And the bullying wasn't even just normal bullying. Like, they'll jump you, they'll break your teeth, break your nose, break your jaw, break your body. They'll do juvenile shit. That stuff that happens to juvie kids. That's what happened down there. And at some point I learned how to, control my mouth and not let my mouth run, and control my words. But even when I did that, people found every chance to bring you down. This one guy named Chase, he was this one native guy, and he scared pretty much anybody. He was a 6'2" guy, who was super built, and he had this resting bitch face on him, so everyone was naturally scared of him.
Right.
And until one day, one of my skinnier friends, he beat him up really bad. He gave him brain damage on the back of his head, and then they all realized he was just all talk. It was something to watch. There was lots of fights there every single day.
Oh,
There
sure.
was I remember one of the worst ones. My friend Blake, this guy was, we were in church and everyone was watching. This guy named Job kept kicking him in the shin, and kept kicking his leg. So he got ticked off, and he finally turned around and hit him right in the nose. And it was really bad. Like his blood was gushing everywhere. And, they didn't even give him a moment to chill out. They just picked him up and slammed him right there, and they took him down and slammed him probably a couple more times. He told me he was there for almost 3 years, my friend Blake. But he had it way worse than me. He was there almost 3 years, and he went through a lot more than what I went through. But for me, I feel like not everyone got bullied, but the reason that I did, I ran my mouth back then. I didn't know how to act. What do you expect from a 13-year-old?
Yeah.
Who has never learned. I mean, who's never learned structure or how to keep his mouth shut, and but I learned that over time, and I went up my ranks. I went yellow, then I went burgundy. There's 3 ranks in burgundy. There's private, corporal, and sergeant. I went all the way up to sergeant. One time I went group leader, but that's the highest I could get. They didn't want to put me in red because there was this thing called favoritism there, and favoritism was an actual real thing. If they liked you like that, then you would be the one getting promoted. If they didn't like you very much, like if you were just another guy, you wouldn't go any higher than a group leader, and that's like if you do really good. Another thing
Yeah.
there, these paces. So when I went there, I was in seventh and eighth grade, and the paces that they gave me was like fourth, fifth grade, and I was like, man, what am I? Why am I doing this? This is like, this is not getting anywhere.
Yeah,
But
those PACE programs are complete garbage. Complete garbage.
they're very garbage, right? I mean,
Yes.
so I was like, so three of my subjects I was in, I think sixth grade, and then two others I was on my grade level. I was in eighth grade, so I had to finish about maybe I'd say 100 plus paces, and I graduated seventh and eighth grade there. I did really good. I did over 100 paces. I mean, most people didn't even do their shit. I mean, most people just like, okay, I'm not doing this. They'll just cheat on it and do all this. I genuinely did it, and even after I did it, the staff members there would find some reason to bring you down anywhere. I mean, in the dorm room, they'll bring pizzas and snacks in the dorm room to piss you off because we barely got any food to eat throughout the day, barely any water. So they're bringing pizza, chips, all these drinks, and you look at it, you'd be like, oh, I'm hungry, and then when you ask for it, they're like, hell no, you're not getting any. It's just like inhumane. I mean,
So they would eat the
how could you
food
do
that
that to
they
them?
would eat the food themselves?
Right, they would eat it and they would feed it to the captains. And let me tell you,
Oh,
being
okay.
captain was very hard. You had to be one of the top favorites, or you wouldn't make it. Or you had to be an extremely brilliant kid who didn't do anything but just eat their shit and mind his business. And that's not happening with people there. That's just not possible with most people.
A
You
lot
can't just
of
keep eating their shit and taking it.
lot of ball washing, huh? Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah, there was, and to an extent, I ate most of the shit that they gave me, but after a time, I just stopped. So I went from burgundy back to yellow, back to brown, and I was just like, I'm tired of this shit, man. Like my parents, I called them every week. I told them what's going on, and sometimes they didn't believe me, sometimes they did. And right up to my 10, I had been there about 10 months. I was like, you guys better take me out on my year. Like I've been through enough torture. Let me tell you, I went there 240 pounds. I came out like 120. I was skin and bones. Like
Wow.
there's bones all over my body. Like that's how you know I went through torture and this horrible hell that they put me through. All this and nonstop running till you throw up, and then you clean that throw up with these nasty paper towels that don't even soak right, and the throw up's all in your hands. It's disgusting. I mean, it's like living like a total. I don't even know. It's just. I mean, I don't know who lives like that. That's just disgusting.
It's
And
stress can be dangerous sometimes because if you're not eating and you're stressed, it takes a toll on your body. Definitely.
oh yeah, I believe it or not, I had gray hair coming right here when I was there. I had a few
Wow.
gray hairs because of stress. That's how much stress I was in. Like I was looking in the mirror one day because so we all use the same towels, right? They would wash it and they'll put them back. Towels are supposed to be white. Our towels were like light brown, man. Imagine using a light brown towel.
Oh,
Like I mean, I had to use it. I couldn't walk out wet most of the time. I got my parents to grab me like a medium-sized napkins because we weren't allowed to have our own towels. I don't know why, but that was
huh.
just the rule there. But it was very disgusting. I got so many skin problems there. Like my acne got 100 times worse because this disgusting hygiene. I try to keep as clean as possible because some of the kids there were very disgusting. They wouldn't wash their face, not brush their teeth, let everything grow out. Just really disgusting. And I kept myself away from them. I kept myself clean. I knew how to be a normal teenager,
Right.
and those kids were far from teenagers. Like they'd turned into some kind of monsters that don't care anymore. Very disgusting. Very like a street thug. That's what they turned the kids into, a street thug. And the only thing I liked about that place was going to church because that's the only time. That's the hold on. Let me. Okay, so the only thing I liked about there was going to church, and it was only because I felt closer to God. I felt some kind of peace. I I'd say 95% of my days there were horrible. Like a lot of stress, either paces or my phone calls. And I didn't even get a phone call for over a month because you have to wait a month before you can have a phone call. And so the only thing I did was write one letter. And my parents, I got one letter during my first 2 months and like one or two phone calls. So there was always something to worry about, either paces or not getting enough food, making sure I have enough water, and just all this other things. Like there was, remember missing my friends. It was just, I would cry most nights. I would, cry myself to sleep, and I wouldn't let anyone know I'm crying. Like I'd suffer in silence. Like I'd tell no one that I cried. I'd cry every night, miss my parents. I was really young. I was
Yeah.
13. I mean, what do you? It was just torture for the first 6 months, and even after I learned how to, move up in the program, even after I learned that, it was still torture. There was still violence. There was still disrespect, bullying. Having to worry about, not talking. They had these things called quiet times,
Mm-hmm.
where if a few people talk, let's say 4 or 5 people, then the whole student body would go into push-up position where you stay there for maybe 5-10 minutes, sometimes longer. And if another kid talk, then we would put it straight into staff culture. Staff culture is where, I mean, the staff like micromanages you, makes you do everything, like stand up, go over there, now go in their stall. It's like so inhuman. It's so inhuman. I mean, like, who does
Yeah.
that?
Uh,
Like, how can you expect
Agape.
teenagers? You said
So
what?
I said agape. Those are the ones that do it, and schools just like it. As long as they're getting away with it, they're going to continue to do it. So
And I'm not gonna lie. Like every day, I think about the kids that are still there, and there's still some kids that I was with. They're still there. They're now 16, 17, 18, and I feel so bad for them. Like, man, I got out in a year. Those kids are still there, and they've been there 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And
wow.
the torture, the shit that they're eating every day, it's like it saddens my heart. Like nothing saddens me more than thinking about those poor people.
Wow.
And I really want to get that place shut down. I don't know how. It's just I don't know how they've not gotten shut down yet. There's been so much fighting, so much injury to people. Like, I mean, how
There
much how
is
much farther do they take it? And
I believe there's the state or the county is looking into it. I've been reading stuff online on the news, and they are
right,
thinking about taking action to investigate and find out what is going on at that place. And there was also a protest. I believe it was last Saturday. I'm sure you probably saw it on Facebook. Um,
yeah, I saw
so
that.
so I'm sure right now Agape is in damage control, trying to figure out what to do. So hopefully, whoever is threatening action towards Agape, whatever county, uh, council or whatever, hopefully they follow through with what they're saying and investigate and hopefully get the place shut down. So,
Right, and I really wish that kids not. I hope you get more kids like me and Lucas and Devin. Like, I hope at least 50, 60 kids, because people are gonna see that. It's gonna, the more kids you get, the more up it's gonna go. More people are gonna see it, and the more people that see it, the more it's gonna be protests. The more
right.
protests, the place needs to get shut down, because those kids are still there. And I mean, even after you're 18, they can still keep you. Like, you can get out, but they'll give you no money, so you're basically homeless. Like Lucas, I talk to him every day, and he told me how he was pretty basically homeless when he got out. His parents didn't help him.
Right.
They turned his parents into monsters. I mean, come on, not just turning yourself into a monster, but your parents. Like,
Well, maybe not
I
so
mean,
much monsters. Maybe they just turn their parents against you. Basically, they're feeding them such lines of
exact.
shit. They're feeding them such lines of shit. They're going to believe the staff members over you because the whole reason why you went there is because you were causing problems. You know what I mean? So,
Right,
but what parents need to do is parents need to
right.
believe you and
It's
check
just
check it out, do your research, figure out, well, okay, my kid is saying this, why is he saying this? Let me follow up and see what's going on. A lot of these parents don't want to do that. A lot of these parents will just believe whatever those staff members will say, and that's a problem. So,
I just want to say one really important thing to all the people that are watching this right now. Please do not send your kid to this place. I don't care how much you research. I don't care how much good stuff they show on there, sports, all this. let me tell you one thing. They have sports maybe 1 week in the entire year. One week of soccer camp, 1 week of football camp, and this year that's going to be shut down too because of COVID. I'm guessing most
Oh
likely.
yeah,
Do not
probably.
send your kid here. It's not going to be a pleasant experience. It's not going to be a pleasant experience. It's going to really mess up their whole life, and they're not going to enjoy this place. Please, parents, do not send your kids here. I didn't get that choice. You parents out there watching this have this choice of listening to me right now, another survivor from Agape, getting out and finally seeing the real world as it is, and not some brainwashed Christianity that's all about violence and quote unquote being Christians. It's not that. Like you guys, it's not that. It's the opposite. It's anti-Christian. It's everything that's not Christian. Beating kids up. It's not. I don't think that's considered Christian.
Yeah, I don't
So do not
see
send your kid here.
I don't see in the Bible where it says you need to beat someone up for the Lord. It's not in there. So, you know,
I mean, they used to use this one quote from the Bible. It's in Proverbs, and they'd be like, it said something about a rod, beating your child with a rod, and he'll
oh,
make you proud. And that's the one.
it
Yeah,
says spare the rod, spoil the child is what
and
it
that's
is.
exactly what they use on us the
Oh
entire
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, when they mean rod, I don't think they mean an actual rod, you know. But
No,
then
it's a
again,
metaphor.
the Bible is you know, I don't know. I don't know what the Bible is. It's people say it says one thing, another person says it says another. How do you believe it?
Right.
You know. So Naman, how is your life doing now? You're doing better. You're in school now, or probably taking
Uh,
online classes, probably, right?
so I'm doing. So I go to the high school in I live in Arkansas, so I go to the main high school here.
Okay.
But I can choose to either stay home and do Zoom virtual, or I can go to school. I think they're shutting down after Thanksgiving because of all the cases rising. But my life's been a lot better right
Okay.
after getting out of Agape. I've had a few incidents. I've had a few incidents, but for the most part, it's been really great. So, and I'd give Agape no credit. I'll give God the credit and the church. I won't give Agape any credit for that because they don't deserve anything but to be shut down. So, honestly, if Agape is watching this right now, man, fuck you. Like, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. I mean,
I
what you
yeah.
did to me.
I'm sure. Like I said, Agape. I'm sure is watching these, and
Julio
so
is another. He's watching this definitely. Yeah,
yeah. So
people there. You guys are watching there.
I know that a couple of guys that have come on were told to come on this podcast by a reporter from the was it Kansas City Star, I believe is what it is. So even the reporters are watching these. So it's and there's a lot of information, that the reporters are using against Agape. So
Right.
hopefully, like I said, once more people come on, more people tell their story, it's more ammunition for the state to come in there and shut this place down.
And another thing I feel like is helping them stay open is they're a church-based school. They have a church going on there, and I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons that it's not being taken action as much as you take action in a normal school without a church.
Well, because it's
So,
it's Christian,
the,
it's not licensed.
right,
It should be, but it's
right.
not.
So exactly, and they make you sign some kind of contract. I don't know what all it says, but it's a total fake contract, and it's all bullshit. And they say after 4 months you can see your parents. In your 8 month visit, you're supposed to be able to go off campus. And what happened to me? This staff member, he was a higher authority member. His name was Dan, Mr. Dan. And on day before my 8 month visit, I was leaning on the wall, and I didn't realize there's a bunch of switches right here.
Mm.
And I was leaning on the wall, standing in line, and I turned one of the switches off accidentally, and this one weird kid, his name was Caden, he started yelling, "Oh, he turned the switch off!" So I turned it back on because I didn't even realize. And Mr. Dan walks in all mad because he's had a bad day. And he's like, "You're a yellow shirt. You're not getting no visit tomorrow. You're not gonna get to go off the campus. You're gonna have to stay here." And so I went and talked to this other guy there that he's a lot better than the other staff members, and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna let you get your burgundy shirt back so you can go off campus." My parents paid money to come in a hotel and come stay and spend time with me. but they just didn't want that. And I feel like that's a really sad thing. Like my parents spending thousands of dollars taking me out to, places in Missouri, coming to see me for 5, 6 days, and
Yeah.
they just shut it all down the first day. And my parents were so sad. They were like, "What did you do? What did you do?" I was like, I didn't even realize, it's a setup. It's literally what happened to me, and I don't know
Yeah.
why they would do that to me. And
It would make them sad and angry, I'm sure.
they were very mad, but they didn't say anything because, Julio he started into little temper tantrums. He's like, "Well, it's your son's fault. He's been a bad kid. He's the reason he got sent here. We're trying to
Right.
help him, but he keeps messing up." That's the one thing he always says is he keeps messing up. And I'm like, I'm doing little things, bro. Like I'm like, what he means by messing up is like I'd accidentally look outside. I'll be standing at attention. I look to the side. That's his definition of messing up, and that's what he'd use against us.
Yeah.
Or let's say you accidentally skip in let's say you skip in the lunch line because you're really hungry. Some kids there are really hungry because they made us miss meals sometimes. They would just make us stand on the wall. We'd miss lunch, sometimes dinner, sometimes 3 meals. It happened. Everyone knows
Yeah.
there. Personally, one time I missed lunch and dinner because they made me stand on the wall. And by the time I got there, the food was out. So I didn't even want it anymore because they had a few chips. I mean, who wants that? I don't want it.
Yeah.
Right. So I missed so many meals there, and that's like that's jail worthy for not feed someone like that. I mean, that's illegal.
Yeah. Definitely.
Um, but there was so much. There was not just me. I'm not even going to talk just about myself. But so many other kids there. They missed meals. They got their visits canceled. One time, my friend he was writing down. So this is a non-Christian song for them. It was some kind of rapper. He's writing down some lyrics so he can remember the song because he liked the song.
Right.
And some guy told on him, and this one staff member, his name was Cody. He took the lyrics and he gave it to the higher authorities, Dan and Julio and Brian, and they canceled his visit, and he barely got any of it. His parents were like really like angry at him, and because he'd done a lot of stuff, but not enough to get something like that. But they canceled his 2 week visit. He had a 2 week visit coming up to go off campus
Wow.
for 2 weeks, and they canceled that. Gone. I mean, no more. You're not getting back anytime soon. And he didn't get any other visit up until the time he got out, and that was another 5, 6 months that I was there with him through that time. And now we're really great friends. His parents have so he ran away from home a couple weeks ago because his parents were being abusive to him, and so now they put him in another correctional facility in Utah. I don't know what it's called, but
Probably Provo
he
Canyon. Yeah.
probably that's what I was guessing. That's what my friend told me. But I mean, he just turned 17, and I don't want him there another year. But I'm hoping he gets out, and if he does, I'll definitely tell him to come on here because he'd have a lot bigger story to tell you than me. He's gone through 3 years. He'd have definitely a lot more.
Wow.
I mean, I can't imagine being there 3 years. That's straight hell. Like that's not normal.
Yeah, that's
A year there.
3 years of your life you're never going to get back. So,
I mean, I didn't. A lot of kids also got out maybe after a couple days, couple weeks, couple months because their parents, just missed them. They're like, no, we want them back, and they still make them pay a lot of money, and it's a lot of money to go to that school. It was around $50,000, $50,000 to go there. Just insane amount of money. Like that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, you're looking at about
And
4,000 a month maybe. Yeah.
oh yeah, and I don't understand how. So you're gonna not give us food, make us take a shit in a stall with no door, and everyone watching you. You know, uh, extreme horrible workouts until you throw up and do it again, getting beat up, no meals, standing on the wall, all these really inhuman punishments for $50,000. That's what you're signing up for. So I'll pay $50,000, and you beat the shit out of my kid and send him back home in a couple of years.
Prisoners aren't
That's
even treated that way.
oh no,
They
this
get their 3 meals
I
a
mean
day. They get their blankets and their beds. They get all that. They get visits.
exactly.
you
And as
know.
long as they don't run their mouth, they'll be fine. No one's
Yeah.
gonna come and just do whatever,
Yeah, but
you
even if,
know.
let's say, prisoner runs his mouth, what does he get? A couple of days in the hole, and then he gets his privileges back. And when he's in the hole, he's still getting food and he's still getting, whatever he needs. So
Right. And
yeah, Agape people are treated worse than prisoners
Right.
in the
It was.
correctional
I'm not gonna.
facilities. So,
I'm not gonna lie. Their food was really good. The chef left after a while, but their food was really good. So missing a meal would be like really sad, depressing. It'd be like, man, I've been hungry all day.
yeah,
Like, what do I eat now? Sometimes
gotcha.
they would leave these big buckets full of ice, and I'd get a bunch of ice and chew on it because I was so hungry from the day before. So I went through a lot of starvation. I would call it starvation because I was bones when I got out of there. I had literally bones everywhere.
Oh, definitely.
And
It's that.
yeah, my parents were like, "What is your body? What's going on?" Like my whole back was all bony, all popping out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
and during the time I was there, I went there. When I was 5'2", I was 240 pounds. I got out at 5'10", and then I was 120 at 5'10". I mean, you're super tall and that skinny. That's
yeah.
crazy for your height.
Yeah. It's not.
And but
Go ahead.
it was very like it was very messed up. Like I had a lot more friends there, and they went through a lot worse. And just sitting with them every day, and listening to their stories of how long they've been here, it depressed me so much. Just sitting there, I mean, if you can imagine being, let's say, 13, 12 years old, and sitting there, let's say you've been there a year, and you're sitting there, listening to your friend's sad stories of his whole life. It was just horrible. I don't think parents would ever understand how much pain that is for someone to go through, plus all the beating up, getting beat up.
That's why we do
And
these
I don't think,
podcasts so they can see
and
why.
people need to
So,
be aware of schools like that. It's not just Agape. I'm pretty sure there's worse ones, and there's
oh
definitely
yeah.
more out there.
Oh yeah. You have the
There's a
you,
lot
you
worse.
have the Wings of Faith, which is right next to Agape. You
Oh,
know.
geez. I talked to one girl from there, and they used to do unspeakable things. I can't even talk about it. Like it would make me ashamed to talk about it. It was that bad there. Like I don't think I'll be able to talk about that, but I'm just giving an indication to people watching out there. They did a lot more messed up things than even Agape Ranch, Agape Boarding School at Wings of Faith,
Oh yeah.
and
And the thing is, there's
it's
thousands.
unspeakable.
There's thousands of these schools all over the United States. That's what's sad.
And even even this one getting shut down, that's 150 lives saved right there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Well,
That's they definitely have 150 now.
there was one in Missouri called, I believe it was Circle of Hope, which was just recently
Yeah,
shut down. Yep.
yeah, I've heard about that. The Agape people, they post that stuff on Snap, Facebook, and I look at it all.
Yep.
I read through the whole thing.
So
Um,
that's been
Lu
completely shut down.
Lucas did tell you about Jacob, right? He recently passed away 2 months ago.
No.
He overdosed.
Oh, yes,
I thought
yes. The
I,
overdose. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and me and him were really great friends. Like, but when he got there, I'd been there a little bit, and we used to sit at the same table every single day for I'd say about 6, 7, 8 months, 6 to 8 months, and we got really close. Like every visit that I'd have, I'd bring him food, and every visit that he'd bring me food, and that's a great thing there. Like bringing each other food, that's not that common. That's rare.
Oh, yeah.
That's no one does that for you. So that was our special relationship that we had, and after we got out, I called him up right away. He got out after me about a month, two later, and we talked on the phone every day. And one day, I see rest in peace. I thought it was some kind of joke, so I really investigated and realized what really happened. And it made me more depressed seeing him like that. And I knew Agape had done that. The loneliness he felt inside. He didn't know how to communicate with people anymore. His
Right.
social skills were gone. It's gone. And he had a number of friends, two or three good friends, Evans and Darius. They were also from Agape, and they were all three really good friends. But they had a whole funeral and everything gone. And after the funeral, I'm sitting there thinking, what in the hell just happened? Like, what is this? He was 16. I mean, come on. That's. I feel like that's on Agape's hands. What happened to him? Because the social skills are gone. He doesn't know how to talk to anyone. He had just gotten out, maybe a few months outside in the real world,
Yeah.
and he had no friends, and he felt lonely. You do drugs when you feel lonely. It's not necessarily just because you want to try it. When you're lonely, you want to do something, get rid of the pain, and that's what he did.
What
And
did he
that's what
over
his
what did he overdose on?
it It was Xanax,
Oh, okay.
Perks, and Hydros.
Prescription. Okay, prescription
And
drugs. Okay.
prescription, yes. And right after that happened, I got so depressed, and I had a bottle of Hydros that I prescribed for my wisdom tooth taken out. I pop finished the whole bottle, and that's how depressed I got. There was about 14, 15 in there, and they rushed me to the ER, and it was the whole process. This was about 2 months ago. This was recent, and it affected me really greatly. Like, when a really good friend like that passes away,
Oh
it
yeah.
breaks you, especially at 16. It just kind of, and I called his phone even after 2 weeks of his funeral. I kept calling his phone, expecting something. I'd gone insane. I'd gone insane. I'm gonna be honest, and I just came back to my real self and realizing, accepting what's happened and trying to move on. But it's gonna take some time
Oh,
to
definitely.
kind of move on from that.
Have you ever thought about seeing any type of counselor or anything for your problem as far
Um,
as dealing with the death of your friend?
I have a counselor at school, but I have a personal therapist that I see every about 2, 3 weeks, and I tell her anything. Like, right after Jacob passed away, I used to hear things in my ear, like I'd hear whispers and stuff,
Right.
and I thought I was going insane. And so I told her that I'm hearing whispers and all this, and it's weird. And so she put me on some medications for anxiety and stress, and it's helped a lot. I think I'm slowly coming back to my normal self. I'm still having nightmares every other day. I feel like I have some kind of low degree PTSD or something. It has to be something like that. If you're getting nightmares every few days, it has to be something related to PTSD,
Oh yeah, definitely.
trauma.
Definitely. Trauma and
So,
stress will do that to you.
and
So,
it's not just like a few minute dream. It's very vivid, and I'm there for hours, and I go through it all, and it breaks my heart, and it feels so real, and it's just, I don't think people understand how nightmares can, how bad can they can really be.
yeah.
Uh, but I mean, I'm still young. I mean, I'll be 16 in a month, but I mean, compared to Lucas and all the other people, they've grown up. Now they're moving on to the real world, getting jobs, finishing high school. I'm kind of under them, but I still, they teach me a lot,
Right.
and I'm very glad. I'm very glad that they're alive, and Agape didn't put them at it. So what Agape did to Jacob, I'm just glad it didn't happen to Lucas, or because if it happened to Lucas, that would have just I would have been done. I'd be like, this is it. I'm done, because me and Lucas weren't always very close because we just didn't relate and click that very well. But nowadays, after we got to know each other a lot
Yeah.
better, we really click and get along. And I know Lucas is most likely going to be watching this. He watches this stuff. So, but yeah, Lucas, I talk to him a lot more these days, and he told me he'll come up and show up to my birthday and all that, celebrate with me. But that's another thing that I want to appreciate about Agape is the connections you make there with people, the lifelong relationships they can create with other people. Like, I see potential in me and Lucas becoming friends, like him and Austin, and I think that's really great. And me and Blake, but there's a very small group of things that are good there, and there's a lot more bigger. And the bad there covers the good, and the good is not seen anymore. That's what's going on there.
Yeah.
It's I'd
And
say the only two good things is church and the friendships. That's it.
it's called Amanda Householder said it right. She said it's called a trauma bond. You know what I mean? You're bound together by your experiences there. You know what I mean? The trauma you went through,
Right,
they went through the same thing. So that's what, you know, forms that connection, that friendship. You know what I mean?
right. And I don't want to blame, I don't like blaming people for anything, but I really feel like what happened, and there was another death almost. I can't remember it now. Jacob's really good friend Connor, he got into a car crash.
Mm,
That made me really sad too, but that I don't think that was accidental, but
accidental. Okay.
he's good. He was good now. It was a really bad collision right to his head injury right here.
Oh,
But I mean, I don't know what to tell people on here. I mean, it's like, if you really think about it, what happened to Jacob is because of loneliness and really small group of friends, and his parents don't really care about him these days. They barely talk to him. They mind their business. So there's no love there. There's no connection there with parents like he used to. I'm sure that he had a really good relationship with his parents before Agape, but Agape really ruined it, and it pushed them, away instead of bringing them. What they say, what they promise is bringing parents and kids together, but what they're really doing is putting them as far apart as you could.
yeah, yeah.
And
Agape poisoned everything. Yes.
it poisoned, it ruined everything. Everything went to hell. Like, when I came back, me and my parents, our relationship was horrible. Like, I hated them for what they did to me, but slowly I got over it, and I hate that I got over it, but I had to. That's just how you
Right.
move on. But
Oh,
now we're
definitely.
really close. Me and my mom, me and my stepdad, me and my sister, we're all really close. We're a lot better than what before Agape, but not everyone can do that. Not everyone can bring their relationship back to what it was. A lot of
Right.
times it'll just fall apart. So I'm one of the very small group of lucky ones that have been able to heal everything that's all gone the wrong way. But other people don't get this kind of gift, and that's what I try to keep in mind and be thankful for, because all the
Yes.
other people have very broken lives these days.
There are
A lot of
some
them are
there are some guys that I've talked to that have been on this podcast who don't have a relationship with their parents. So you're very lucky that you have a
that's
relationship with your parents. That's something not to
I
take
try to
lightly.
stay
You know.
I try to be thankful for that every day. I see kids these days, kids have never seen anything trauma like this, and they go around disrespecting their parents, and it boils my blood. It makes me angry. It's like, how dare you talk to your mom like that, bro?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
But I don't really blame them completely. I mean, they haven't seen what it's like without them, so I don't completely blame them. But yeah, you're right. I know some kids there. They're living very in below the poverty line, and I can't do anything to help. If I was 18, that would have been different. I could have helped them, but a lot
Right.
of them are also right on the poverty line, barely getting by. Making the minimum wage and just making it barely, and parents are just out of the equation, just gone. A lot of them that I know, and that's a really horrible thing if you really closely think about it. Is being before agape and after is on a lot of kids, their parents and them. It's done, and it's like it saddens me because I have parents that care and love me, and they don't, and they have no one, and
Yeah.
that's the reason that Jacob is now gone. And I will 100% blame agape for that. I feel like that's right thing to do, and my instincts are always mostly what I feel right, and I think that it's right.
Well, first
But
thing is you have to look out for yourself. First thing.
right, right,
Then you look out for your friends. You have to make sure you keep uh, your bond with your parents and everything. Make sure that's on the up and up. And then
right,
once you've got that straightened out, then work on your friends. But yeah, you need to
right,
take care of you and yours. You know what I mean? Definitely, that's
right,
priority number one.
and I think you're completely right, and I try to do that every day. Like, not yesterday, I was talking to my mom, and I was going through something because of my girlfriend, and I was like, Mom, you are right. Like, in the end, what sticks with you is going to be always your family. Your friends are
Yes,
not always going to be there for you. They can't be. It's not possible.
right,
If they say they promise, it's a lie. Because your family's only they're going to be the only ones that they'll stick with you when you've gone through something like that. And I really, I thanked her and appreciated her, and I told her how she was right,
right.
and that family's always going to be there no matter what, but friends not always. Sometimes, maybe a lot of times, but not all the time,
Sure,
because they
parents.
have their own stuff to deal with.
Being a parent myself, I know parents can get angry, but you get over
Right.
it. You know what I mean? You get over
Yeah.
it. You still love your kids. You know, so
Yeah.
no matter what.
That's the same with my parents. My parents get mad at me they'll get mad for a couple hours most times, but we'll get over it. We'll talk it out.
Sure.
We don't turn it into violence or some shit like that. We'll peacefully deal with it. It approximately will take a day or two, and we'll be fine. So, and that's rare. Like, most of the time, we're a very happy family. We try to be. We keep things in order. That way, no one has to feel like shit, because we've all of us have been through a lot of stuff the last 3-4 years. So we're just heading forward now instead of looking back. And as much as
Right.
I try not to think about agape, I think about it every single damn day of my life in some way. Something will remind me of it. That's how much it influenced me from the inside. I'll think about it every day in some way. And I think that's a very terrible thing for parents who are listening out there. Imagine your kid thinking about it every day, something like that. It'll ruin their life. It'll ruin their day.
It drives you nuts. You know what I
You
mean?
know, and yeah, and I've heard some stories about some kids who committed suicide. There's at least a couple that I've heard. I don't know if they're all true, but I think at least one has to be true. So there's definitely been And while I was there, I completely forgot to tell you this kid tried to hang himself in the shower bay in a stall, and it was the saddest thing ever. And but he survived. He was unsuccessful, and they put him in a brown shirt for like 3 months and made it 100 times worse. Instead of trying to counsel him
Right.
and help him, made him work out like hell and feed him just nasty, stinking food that no one wants to eat, and made it 100 times worse. And his depression, I don't know where that kid is now, but I mean, his name was Jonathan. A lot of people will know who I'm talking about, but you know, that kid went through a lot more than me, and I feel like if he tried to commit suicide, that's like up there, man. That's like you're done with everything.
Yeah, definitely.
But in my way, what I've been through is still a lot, but there's kids there who've been through a lot more, so I still try to stay thankful for the things that didn't happen to me, because it could have been a lot worse. It could have turned out a lot worse, but in the end, God really had my back, and God took me through it all. So another thing I'd like to say is, you just got to trust God sometimes. You got to just let go and just trust his instincts, because it will always turn out good for you.
Right.
And that's what's been I've gone through a lot of tough times even in the last year, but trusting God through it all has one thing that's kept me still going good.
Well, that's
But
great,
yeah,
Lamont.
that's yeah.
I'm glad you're doing better. I'm glad you have a good relationship with your parents.
I'm
So,
really thankful for that. Yeah.
definitely. All right, man. Well,
Thank you.
thank you for giving your story. Stay on the line. I'm gonna end the podcast. Okay? So
Okay.
just hold
All
on.
right.
I want to thank Lamont for coming on. And if you have been to Agape or Wings of Faith or any of the other boarding schools and you'd like to give your story, the number is on top of my channel page. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. People are watching. A lot of people are watching now. The channel's growing. So the more subscribers we get, the more people will see this. All right. So for the Hammer Podcast, I'm Jason. You take care of yourself. You take care of each other.